that what can South African women, especially when you consider that how many acts of violence against women are actually the perpetrator is actually known to the woman. So, I mean, she's not going to pull out a firearm on that person. So how does a woman defend herself now? What can we start doing now to defend ourselves?
The thing that has to change now, and this counts as equally for men as it does for women, this is not a unique affliction to any one gender, is a mindset change. We talked about guns just now, and we'll probably talk about guns a bit more. A firearm is purely a tool. It is, to this very day, the most effective tool any person can use defensively against a violent attack. It should not be their only tool, and it is not the most important thing. It is merely an extension of something you already have, which is your mindset. You can have all the skills in the world, defensive skills, martial arts skills, whatever. You can have all the tools in the world. If your mindset isn't correct, then those tools and skills become almost essentially meaningless. And what has to change mindset-wise is nothing complicated. It's a refusal to outsource responsibility for our personal safety and the safety of our families and the people we hold closest to us to the government or to any other outside external body. Yes, the police have a job they need to do. Yes, armed response companies have a job they need to do. Yes, it's great having layers of security, but at the end of the day, none of those things are infallible. And when bad things come to you personally, or bad people with bad intentions on that given day, the only person standing between them and your own sort of suffering and demise or whatever is you and what you are capable of doing, and as much mentally as physically. And if your attitude is one of, I will fight, I will resist, I'm not just going to submit and lay myself down at the mercy of these criminal thugs, then you've already moved several steps in the right direction to becoming a effective hard target that criminals don't like. I've seen personally in this country far too many examples of innocent, unarmed, harmless people, women, older children, men, elderly, it doesn't matter, that when they are confronted with violent criminals, we like to say, just give them what they want and they'll leave you alone. I've seen the flip side of that too many times, of you give them what they want, and then when they have you in their power, they do unspeakable things. At best, they might just put a bullet in the back of your head. At worst, well, there's been a lot written about it in the media. I don't think I need to, go into gory details or anything like that. And that's the part that people need to think about when I talk about mindset change. Mm. Mindset, and then having the training and the tools. It's almost like a triangle between the three, and you want to have all three, mindset being the most important one, but you also want training and you also want tools.
Okay. So where can we get that training and tools?
Okay, the training's not too difficult to want to answer. I've got on my website, I've got a very nice list that I will send you a link of that you can even put in the description of this video, that has a list of instructors and trainers that was compiled by a very good friend of mine, Brian Menny, and these are his personal favorites that I'm more than happy to send anybody to, especially women, to learn more about self-defense, what it entails. And the beauty of it is you go there as a complete layperson. You're not expected to know anything beforehand. You will be taught what you need to know, and you will pick it up in that environment. And it's around South Africa. It's Joburg, Pretoria, Cape Town, Durban. Wherever you live, we will find somebody who is suited to what you want to achieve.
And it's quite a close network. So even if you don't directly know somebody now who's like just outside East London, for example, I'm sure you could find someone for us.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys do travel. They do travel around. If there's enough interest from a group of people, they will do the effort of traveling and giving training.
Perfect. Well, that's good news for women.
Yes. The tools are not much different. We're talking about basic self-defense tools. You can talk about sharp objects. Pepper spray being a really good one, like high quality pepper spray has its place. You talk about silly things like you've heard of tasers and all these things. I'm not a big fan of them. I'm sure they also have their place, but I've seen failures with tasers where people expected them to work where they didn't work at all, and stun batons and all these things. When it comes to carrying something defensively against a mugger or someone who accosts you on the street, good quality pepper spray, excellent. But don't put it in your handbag. This is the one thing. I'm not a self-defense expert by any means. Okay, I leave that to the real subject matter experts who I'll be referring people to. But the one thing I do know is, do never, ever don't put your pepper spray in your handbag, because when you need to get it, you're not going to rummage around and find it. So
you're married, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do you go in your wife's handbag?
No, I've been taught from a very young age that you do not do that, which frustrates her because she sometimes wants me to fetch things for her. And I say, I refuse. I'll bring you your bag and you can go dig at it. But I'm just like, on a principle basis, I don't do that.
But now, why do you think you were trained from a very young age to never go in a lady's handbag?
You know what? I just kind of always considered it to be, or at least what I got from it from my mother, is that's a lady's like personal space. You don't mess around with it. I was like, cool, I'm on board with that.
And it can be a frightening place. And trust me, when you haven't used your pepper spray for 6 months because you've been safe, you're not going to find it underneath all the other things that ladies need to carry in their handbag. I'm not going to name them, but ladies, you know what I'm talking about. You're not going to find that pepper spray in the bottom of your handbag. I used to be part of a morning walking group until I had some health issues earlier in the year. And the walking group then fell apart. But what we did was we did each buy a pepper spray. And we were not stupid about, like, obviously we didn't walk with handbags or anything. We were, we made like we didn't even have cell phones. I used to hide mine in my sock or whatever and put it on silent. And I'd have my live location on WhatsApp so my husband could see, if there's any problems or whatever. But we didn't even put it in our pockets, even if we were wearing jerseys or whatever with pockets. We had that pepper spray in our hands.
Which is exactly where it should be. And as you would know, it's small, it's relatively concealable. It's not easy to pick up that someone has pepper spray per se in their hand. It's a wonderful defensive tool. And it's a great way of creating an opportunity to escape from a violent mugger or an attacker. Because that's all you need the pepper spray really to do. Is you don't need it to take the guy down and then you put him in a rear naked chokehold or whatever the jiu-jitsu people do. You really just want to get in his face with it, disrupt what he's doing, and get yourself an opportunity to get away from this person. And it's perfect for that. And Beth, you did it exactly right. And that's precisely what the trainers will probably tell people who come train with them as well, as that's one of the things you do with pepper spray. If it's not in your hand, it's not going to work. Another great tool that people overlook is a bright, reliable torch or flashlight. And you get them small these days, small, tiny little things that are the size of my hand. And the output is like 1,200 lumens. It's ridiculous. That pepper spray, those two are perfect. If I always ease people into the gun talk and say, look, that is your last resort. It's a last resort I never want to not have. I find it that important. I understand if people don't feel happy to shoulder the responsibility of owning and carrying one. I will never judge anyone who says, that's not for them. That's perfectly fine. It is a big responsibility, especially if you have children. It's one of those things. You can't be irresponsible with it. But if you're okay with pepper spray and you're okay with a torch, and if you're trained and if your mindset is right, chances are eventually you're going to confront the gun ownership thing, one way or the other.
I hope you enjoyed this snippet of a longer interview. You can find the full video at the bottom of the screen right now. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know with a thumbs up and by commenting below. Don't forget to subscribe and set the bell icon to all notifications so that you'll never miss another live stream. YouTube is now recommending another video that you might enjoy.